Alright, you guys, late drama at St. James's Park. A moment from Dani Olmo secures a penalty for Barcelona. Lamine Yamal steps up to expertly dispatch the penalty as Barcelona secures a 1-1 draw to take back to the Camp Nou in a week's time. Let's talk about that. But first, if this is the first time you're seeing one of my videos, hi guys, I am Just Max, and on this channel I talk about football, La Liga, the Prem, all the good stuff. And always it's going to be Vizca Barca for me, as I am a Barca fan. If this is something that you are interested in, please stick around, be my friend, be my homie. I would love to grow this channel with you. Like, subscribe, share, leave me a comment on this video as well. I would love to know what your thoughts were on this game. But before we say anything even further, Newcastle, 10/10. The performance today from them, they were sensational. They absolutely neutralized Barcelona. And I'm not even going to put it down to the say, okay, Barcelona was suffering from an injury. No, they were good. But to understand how good Newcastle were, let's take a look at the lineup that Hansi Flick put together on the pitch, because it was Joan Garcia in goal, and I thought that he was sensational. The scoreline for Newcastle could have been even more not for Joan Garcia. On paper, it would say that Gerard Martin played in left back, but I do think that Araujo was the one who ended up playing that position. It was Gerard Martin in centre back, partnering with Pau Kubasi, and of course Joao Cancelo in right back for Barcelona. Marc Bernal and Pedri were Barcelona's pivot. Rafinha was in left hand for Barcelona, while Lamine Yamal played the right hand wing. Fermin Lopez was our attacking midfielder, while Robert Lewandowski led the line for Barcelona. And when I tell you, I have never seen these levels of peak tomfoolery from Barcelona, I'm not even joking. I think that this is the second worst game that they've played this season. The first one is going to be that first leg away at the Wanda Metropolitano in the Copa del Rey semi-finals to Atletico Madrid, where with high quality performance on the day, Atletico Madrid did end up scoring 4 goals on the night in the first half. Something similar could have happened today, except today Joan Garcia in that first half and for last chunks of the second half until he did end up conceding that 1 goal, he was on it. I did think that Barcelona could not control the game. The game was too fast. They played a breakneck speed in that first half, and I kept on looking to Pedri to try and slow things down, to try and calm the nerves, to try and, mash out the midfield. Listen to me when I tell you this, Barcelona lost the midfield. And this is something that we don't often see for Barcelona games, because if anything, you can count on Barcelona to hold the ball. You can count on them to prevent the opponent from being on the ball. And the statistics will tell you that Barcelona did have a lion's share of the possession with 54% as opposed to Newcastle's 46%. But when you're watching the game in real time, it did not feel like that, because every first ball, every second ball, every pass, Newcastle was there. They intercepted. I don't understand what was happening with Barcelona today. I can't even lie to you. Pedri today was non-existent. He did not have a good game at all. And because Pedri was not having a good game, in my opinion, I felt like everybody else was not having a good game. We did not see Lamine Yamal in this game. Rafinha, he put together a stinker. Rafinha had an opportunity to give Barcelona the lead earlier on in the first half. I think it was on 8 minutes when Barcelona sprung a 2-for-2 attack with Rafinha and Lamine Yamal. Rafinha could have easily passed the ball to Lamine Yamal, who was very well unmarked in the middle of the box, but he chose to go at goal, and I thought that was the wrong decision from Rafinha on the night. I have never seen Barcelona defend this hard for their lives. I was so impressed with the likes of Pau Kubasi today. With Pau Kubasi and Gerard Martin in centre back, they were brilliant. For every time Langa, Osulu and Javi Barnes came forward for Newcastle, Pau Kubasi was there to make an interception. Gerard Martin was there with the clearance. We're not taking any chances. There was a moment where Joan Garcia could have, catch the ball. Gerard Martin said, no, we're not doing that over here. We will clear it and make sure that it doesn't come back. The second thing that I wanted to point out from this game that stood out to me too, though, was the press of Newcastle. They pressed Barcelona to bits. It was like to the point where I was very, very nervous when Barcelona was trying to play out of defense. It just screamed as if like any mistake that happens, it's going to be bad. It's going to be bad. I don't know how often Barcelona actually saw the Newcastle side of the pitch. I think that the entire match was played in Barcelona's half of the game, which tells you how incredible Newcastle were on the night. I would not lie to you that the atmosphere was sensational. It was. Maybe that played into what we were seeing on the night. Maybe that was it. I do think that this game though lends itself into some credit for my boy Frankie de Jong. A lot of times he's one of those people who, like, people tend to sleep on him because, like, he's not as fancy with some of the things that he does. You know, he's very quiet. Like, on a day like today, I feel like we did miss the likes of Frankie de Jong. His ability to take the ball and drive with the ball, his ability to, like, just be defensive. And it's no shade to, like, Marc Bernal, of course. Marc Bernal, I thought, had a great game for what it was, you know, but I felt like this game needed a Frankie de Jong. And if you would recall, in the first game that we played against Newcastle this season in the group stage, it was Frankie de Jong who actually mashed out the midfield. The Newcastle manager, he had a perfect plan for Pedri, which was to neutralize Pedri, and then Frankie de Jong stepped up. Today, they did have a good plan for Pedri, and Pedri was losing a lot of balls, in my opinion, today, but there was no Frankie to, like, cover up for where Barcelona were lacking. I felt like all throughout the game, like, we just never looked like a game that we wanted to, like, win. There was just one of those weird feelings where you're watching the game and you're thinking, oh, this is not going to go our way. Like, I never thought that Barcelona was going to win it. Even when Newcastle scored through Harvey Barnes in the 86th minute, I wasn't even nervous. Like, at this point, I feel like I was almost a bit resigned to say, like, hey, maybe this was not our day, because again, when you look at the things that we're putting together, the Newcastle goalkeeper barely had a save to make. Like, the statistics will show you that Barcelona had 10 shots on goal, 3 on target. I think that was a bit generous, to be fair. I don't think that they did do that much that will say that they had 10 shots. Like, I barely even noticed when they moved forward, to be fair. And that's saying a lot for a team that likes to attack, for a team that likes to hold the ball. Every time I blinked, it was as if Newcastle was coming. And again, this is to say something about how well they played today. The way they broke Barcelona's line, they made the perfect runs, the way that they were able to use their speed against Barcelona. Barcelona was so nervous around Elanga. Everybody who was marking him today, they were just so nervous. And Marc Bernal picked up a foul for tackling him. I think even Lamine Yamal could have seen a yellow card earlier in this game for an unnecessary foul on Elanga. He's just one of those players where he could have, you give him the ball, he's going to run with it, and he's going to outrun many of the people. But again, I have to give credit. The best players for Barcelona today were in defense. Barcelona's defense, they held down. I want to give credit to Osula as well from Newcastle. He had a great game. I think he could have scored if he had a bit more quality. He just didn't. There were some times when it looked like he was fighting with the ball. You never know what was going to happen. It was like, it could be great, it couldn't be great. You never know. Like, you just never know. But, like, I thought all in all, barring the fact that he didn't end up getting the goal, like, he had a great game. He put the Barcelona defense under a lot of pressure. He was just a stress to deal with, all in all. Sandro Tonali was another person that was stressful from a Barcelona point of view. We did end up seeing Anthony Gordon for Newcastle and Livramento, and I don't really know that I felt as much as their impact, but I want to talk about the goal from Newcastle. It was a moment of, like, a mistake from Joan Garcia. I felt like he had already had the ball covered. I don't understand what happened there. Like, he hit his chest and then goes into the box. It's kind of a weird goal to concede, especially when he was having a great game up until that point. But again, Newcastle, they deserved the lead. They played out of their skin. They were sensational. They were magical. They fed off the atmosphere from their fans. They actually had the ball in the back of the net once, but it was ruled out for offside. And then they just kept on putting the Barcelona defense under pressure. Araujo, I think he picked up an injury in this game. He didn't come back enough. Rafinha plays Harvey Barnes onside. It's a good goal from Newcastle. Actually, it's not a great goal, because he did come off his shin. But if you were going to score a goal in the Champions League, it's a good goal to score against Barcelona. Barcelona did end up with Marc Bernal going off. Of course, we did see that he may have picked up an injury. If you would remember, on Saturday, was it Saturday? On Sunday, I want to say, he was subbed on Saturday. He was subbed off against Athletic Bilbao, and Hansi Flick came on to say it was because he was carrying a knock. So when he did end up going down, I feel like he may have pulled a hamstring in this game. I haven't checked the news though, but, like, I feel like it may have been a hamstring, which is why he then gets up substituted. I hope it's not a hamstring. I hope it was just a precautionary. But the way he just stamped his foot on the ground and then pulled out of the race, it says it's a hamstring to me. But then again, I'm not a medical doctor. I'm just someone who has watched way too many games and seen way too many injuries happened. Dani Olmo did end up coming into this game for Barcelona, and I'm not going to lie to you, right? Like at the 94th minute, I was already giving up on the possibility of anything going on for Barcelona. We hadn't played a great game. We were terrible all around. This was the shittiest performance I've seen us play all season long, maybe second only to that Atletico Madrid game, as I said earlier. So I was kind of resigned to the idea that Barcelona are going to come away from this game with a 1-0 loss, and then we head to the Camp Nou and do a remontada, which is not against our capability to do in the Camp Nou. On our grounds, we're still unbeaten in the Camp Nou. It's a fortress, so that's kind of what I was looking for. So color me surprised when we finally make a foray, and again I say finally because like we barely actually troubled the Newcastle goalkeeper all game long. We make a foray into the Newcastle box. I want to say that Dani Olmo makes this kind of zigzag kind of move in the box, and the defender just outstretches his leg in the box. With the last kick of the game, he brings Dani Olmo down in the box, and it adjusts to be a penalty. The referee is right there, very well spotted to see it as a penalty. VAR does check it, and then of course they rule it as a penalty, of course. And here comes Lamine Yamal stepping up to take the penalty for Barcelona. Let me tell you something, I was nervous. Why was I nervous? Because it's one thing to get a penalty, it's another thing to score a penalty. And Barcelona, we've proven that we're not infallible when it comes to penalty kicks. For Lamine Yamal has missed, Lewandowski has missed. The only person who has been, unshakable in front of a penalty is Rafinha. He was not particularly having a good game today. I'm going to call that out. Lamine Yamal did end up stepping up to take the penalty, and he dispatches it. And when I tell you, I screamed, I scrumped, I yelled, I danced. And that's kind of why this video is coming out a bit late, because like time that I should have been using to make my reviews, I was screaming and screaming like on TikTok. Like you should go check out my TikTok at Just Max. You'll see all the way I was acting a fool over there, because I did not expect us to be coming away with a draw in this game, and I'm happy to come away with a draw. Because let me tell you, for those that will say, oh, but it's just Newcastle, for me it just felt like a NBA playoffs game. Like, you know how you keep on playing the same opponent, that you start to figure out their kinks, and that's how it felt to me. Like when you play a team one time a season and then you move on, they learned when we played them in the first leg. They fixed up some of the things that they did not do well that first time in the group stage. They applied the lessons from that group stage to here. So now I think the onus on us moving to the Camp Nou is to apply the lessons that we've learned from this game on our ground, which I do expect us to do. I don't expect us to be this terrible when we go back home. I expect us to have the crowd behind us and to show Newcastle what football is. But then again, I have to give Newcastle their hands. They deserved to win this game. They played like they wanted to win this game. They should have won this game. But a moment of drama at the end of the game secures a draw for Barcelona. And as a Barca fan myself, I'm excited. Why? Because I don't want to do a remontada. It just means that we're going to go home and play like we had 0-0, and that's fine for me. But that has been it for me. Let me know what you thought about this game in this comment section, and of course, if you like my thoughts on this video, like, subscribe and share. But as always, of course, it's Bishka Basa.